Hey guys, I want to show you a very simple gambit that nobody is talking about, and I first saw this from one of Danya's games, Danya Nxd5. And before we start, I want you to write these goals on a piece of paper. Number 1, we always want to have a lead in development. Number 2, we want to mess up our opponent's pawn structure. Number 3, we want to have an open game. Number 4, kiss. We want to keep it so simple for a good end game. So here we go. Starting with e4, then black plays e5, knight f3, knight c6. Then instead of going bishop c4, you play knight c3, which is the 3 knights opening. And one good thing about this opening, guys, is that you are more likely to see the 4 knights defense on the board. You can see that's the top played move, played by over 27 million chess players on leeches. Even in the Masters database, this is the top played move, knight to f6, which is a clear indication of a good opening. You want to limit your opponent's options, and that's why this move is very good. So spoiler alert, in the king's pawn game, knight c3 doesn't go together with bishop c4. That oftentimes lead to disaster. Anyways, after knight to f6, the surprise move that your opponents won't be ready to see is pawn to d4 right away, known as the Scotch variation of the 4 knights game. And here you're going to see most of your opponents taking on d4, after which you go knight d5, and this is the beginning of the Belgrade Gambit. When you look into the Masters database, you'll find that grandmasters like Danya and Karpov played these from time to time, even in their classical games, so this is not a dubious move. The first line we are looking at is knight takes e4, the top played move in the Leeches database, which is very dubious. Why? Because this announces bishop d3, helping us to develop our piece with tempo. Let's say knight f6, which is a mistake because of queen e2 check, and obviously black cannot block this check with his nose. They have to do it with the bishop though, after which you go knight takes f6 check, and now they are forced to take with the pawn, hence messing up their pawn structure on the king side. So you can see already in the opening stage, black is losing. By the way, we can just continue playing like this. Let's say pawn to d5, maybe paving way for their light squared bishop. Here you can just go bishop b5, pinning the knight. There's a lot of things that you can do, by the way. But remember, one of our goals is to be in control of the game. You only want to be playing forcing moves. Bishop b5 threatens to take black's free pawn on d4. Let's say bishop d7. You can just take. If bishop takes, this is when you grab a free pawn. This pawn structure is already winning for white. If queen d7, you have rook e1, and now black can't even castle. For example, if castle long, we can just take, and after take, you will see them playing something like rook d f8. After which you just take their light squared bishop and grab all of their pawns. Guys, this is a very effective opening. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Don't just watch and give likes. If you can't share this video, just comment for the algorithm. That's the way you help me help you. Anyways, so we saw what happens if black blocks with their bishop. But hey, what if they play bishop g4 counter-attacking? Well, remember our second goal, kiss KISS. You want to keep it so simple. You open up the game and make sure that you are ahead in development. All the highlighted moves in yellow are good moves, but they don't force our opponent to make a decision and possibly respond wrongly, which is why in this position h3 is the best move. If bishop h5, by the way, which is the top played move, at least in over the board games, this is when you can surrender your knight by attacking something else. By the way, you just unpinned your knight on f3. If they take it, you can simply take on c6 with check. If queen d7 blocking the check, you're going to win. The free rook on a8. If king f8, by the way, you have bishop h6 check, and king g8 is the only move, after which you take the light squared bishop on g3, and your plan is very simple. King h1 followed by rook g1 checkmate. If bishop f8, by the way, every move needs to come with an attack. If black plays bishop d6, well, you can just go ahead and take to keep it so simple. Once again, by the way, black can't even take with the queen because we are going to win their rook on a8 with check. That would just be a free piece, so they better take with the c pawn, but that hangs the pawn on d5, and this is clearly winning for white. You are about to play king h1 or king h2 followed by rook g1 check. So this is a very effective opening, guys. You should go ahead and give it a try. And still let me know what you think in the comment section if this can be your dependable opening repertoire. So back to our 4 knights game, where black plays knight to f6 and then we go pawn to d4 immediately. You're always going to see them taking, then you go knight d5, a surprise move, leaving your pawn on e4 undefended. So we saw that knight takes e4 is not good for black. Yeah, I know there are other options where black can take and then after bishop d3 they go pawn to f4, but this, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't help. The best you can do is just to castle short. If they play bishop e7, trying to do the same, well, there's even this intermediate move which most of your opponents won't see, bishop c4, getting into the way of the king. For example, if this, you're simply going to take their free bishop with check, and this is clearly winning for white. Once again, you just want a free piece. By the way, next you are going to take the free knight. If black doesn't castle short, and let's say they play something like pawn to d6, well, remember that your opponent's king is still on the center, so this is not good for them. You just go knight takes d4 if you want, or even better, rook e1, and let's say bishop e6. Well, you can just take back your pawn on c7. Or let's say black doesn't castle short or play pawn to d6. What if they play knight a5? There's a beautiful trick that inspired me to make this video in this position, starting with knight takes d4, allowing black to take our light squared bishop. Why? Because we have knight takes f5. Next, we are threatening to take on g7 with check, and you might think castle short will make black be up a piece for good. But hey, we can simply take on e7 with check, and if king h8, well, we can simply go queen g4, attacking everything that black has in this world. What are they going to do? Anyways, by the way, this doesn't work because you have this, and if queen f8, you can just go ahead and take back the knight, equalizing material. Now it is time to look at the knight takes d5 line. I mean, we just finished looking at the knight takes e4 line, so we are now looking at what to do if black takes your knight instead of your pawn. Well, you just take back. This is the simplest. By the way, it's also the easiest because you have a well advanced pawn on d5 which black can't easily stop. For example, if knight e7, the top played move, you simply take on d4 with your queen, and if pawn to d6, the top played move, you can go pawn to h3, even pawn to c4. But remember our goals in this study, you guys. You always want to be ahead in development and be in control of the game. This provokes black to play pawn to f6 or pawn to h6, which are both dubious moves. You just provoked a weakness, so this is when you can play bishop d2. What's the difference? There's a change in position, so next you'll be good to castle long. If knight f5, you go queen c4. Let's say bishop e7, you castle long. Even if they castle short, you will just start expanding on the king side, pawn to h4. After this, bishop d3, putting more pressure on the knight, and next I have plans to go pawn to g4 and rook dg1. Now I can't end this video without showing you the top engine move that grandmasters play in the 4 knights game after seeing pawn to d4. So after ed and knight d5, grandmasters and other strong players don't take on e4 or on d5, which is very difficult to find unless you've studied this line before. The move is knight b4, ladies and gentlemen. This would just lead to an equal game. So what you want to do is to keep it so simple. KISS. After seeing knight b4, just know that your opponent is well prepared and they probably know what they are doing. So you just go ahead and take on f6. You simplify the game. If they take back, you don't want to entertain your enemy's pieces in your territory first. I mean, there was no need for you to take on d4 with your knight or queen because of this little trap. By the way, black can just win your free knight in this position. So don't just think of taking back on d4 after queen takes f6. First of all, you want to get rid of your enemy's piece out of your territory. And if you look at the position carefully, bishop c4 is a 1-0 move. Even bishop g5. For example, if you play bishop g5, that is okay, but it allows queen g3 somehow. And even if you go bishop d3, I feel black has more time to develop his other pieces and, you know, just put pressure on your pieces very early. So you don't want to play bishop g5 or bishop c4. The move to remember and memorize in this position is bishop d3 right away. Once you play this, then you have equalized the game and you have no worries. For example, if black continues with the top played move bishop c5, you can just go ahead and castle short, play pawn to h3, or be creative with the move pawn to b4. Since black developed his piece in the line of attack, so these moves do matter in the opening stage. If bishop b6, this is when you castle short. If they play pawn to d6, you can go pawn to h3 if you want, but in this position, I'll just go knight d2, preparing to relocate my knight this side and play pawn to f4 in the near future. For example, after castle short, pawn to f4. Now look at my beautiful pawn structure on the center with this big pawn on d3 called the bishop. I mean, I would really love to have this position even in the classical tournament, guys. So next, queen h5 is coming, followed by rook f3. Guys, this is an opening to try. Let me know what you think about this opening in the comment section down below, and be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if at all you haven't already. What are you waiting for? Do it for the algorithm. If you can't do it for Casper Chess, feel free to check out my courses at www.casperchess.com if you want to take your chess seriously. It is in courses where we review more things in detail with one specific goal: to turn you into a better classical player. The Belgrade Gambit can also be played in classical tournaments. So be sure to hit the like button and follow me on Patreon for more extra videos that I don't post on YouTube. Until next time, bye bye.